So I like to call it pandandancy. It was the pandemic, and I was with a company who had just been taken over, and the furlough opportunity came up, and I was very happy to take that. And I knew probably I'd be made redundant after this takeover. So I started to do a little bit of homework as to what I would like to do in its place. And the VA lure was there, the hook, and I started to look a little bit into it. So the redundancy actually, I'm not sure I would have left a job to do it, if I'm honest. I'm not retirement age, but I'm that sort of end of the spectrum, so to speak. So I don't know that I'd have embarked on it, but now that I've done it, I kind of wish I had. So emotionally, I was okay with it, but we're quite far on with mortgages and stuff, so it wasn't just quite so desperate that it would have been to have a salary just cut immediately. So that's when I was saying, would I have given a job up? Probably not. It would have been a gamble to do that, I think, further or earlier in my career. But it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't pleasant, but because everybody was at home at furlough time, and well, the pandemic time, my husband was working from home, so I was able to be at home for him as well. So that was actually quite an enjoyable time, and the weather was fine, if you remember. So being at home wasn't just such a tragic situation at the time. But if you ignore the actual size of COVID and the damage. But yeah, it was not pleasant, not pleasant at all. But it did galvanise me doing this, and I'm glad I did. I just reckoned with the background that I'd looked into and the information that was available online, I just thought I could do this. So you get the little bit of, no, you can't, what are you talking about? Of course you can't. These people have been doing it forever. What could you do? You know, what sort of business? And that was quite tricky getting to that decision as to what offering you would have. Because my background isn't in secretarial or admin as such, it's in operations management. So it's trying to pull that into some kind of business model where people are going to be able to find you and that sort of thing. So getting the kick-off from the time of coming to the end of the being unemployed, that 6-month period from August to February, I was then able to start a business, become self-employed at that point. So that's where the start point was, February 2021. Getting clients, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business. So luckily, I'm a networking person, so that part of it, and my first 2 clients, one was a contact of a contact of a contact, so the old embryonic, you know, your little circle of people. So it was somebody we used to telephone answer for on a weekend, and he was rolling out potentially my services to his clients, none of whom bid, but a friend of one of theirs did, and I've up until very recently, so I had that client for about 2 and a bit years. And interestingly, one client my second client has just come back with a booking.com story that I had to write a reply for. His was a little bit from the hip. And so he's just come back on board. So they came very easily, I think, in the beginning. And then networking, everybody was networking online. So everybody was on the little celebrity squares and speaking to people all over the country. So you were naturally providing your service in a virtual manner. So I think people were able to understand the virtual assistant business. It's not something that's done in the Philippines only or South Africa because on time zones. It's actually a big business across the world and particularly in the UK. And I think a lot of people who thought, well, I would never ever outsource something to somebody else who's not sitting next to me in a secretarial capacity, suddenly found that their secretary was not sitting next to them anymore. Their secretary was at home working. So, and I think it led to a lot of people being laid off in that respect. But a lot of secretaries being able to set up on their own, potentially contracted to their previous company. So the world sort of platform was changed, and I think being a VA is something that you can, if you're determined enough, you can do it. If you're, I wouldn't say necessarily qualified, if you don't necessarily need qualifications, you just need to be good at what you do, and be consistent and all these sort of things. But it's been an interesting move for lots of reasons. And the networking online I loved, because you have your little 5-minute spiel, you can hold you can take control of the breakout rooms if everybody's going, oh, I don't want to go, who wants to go first? Oh, I'll go first, I'll organise it. So you're showing your organisational skills and everything at the time. And then it's word of mouth and referrals, and then suddenly you've got a few clients, and then somebody tells somebody else, and you get some more. And that's where the niche or not niche bit comes in, because a lot of people will think you do need a niche, and a lot of you don't. And I don't think you have your niche in the beginning anyway. I think you end up getting your niche once you've had a run at it, to A, decide what you like doing, what you don't like doing, and B, to decide where the business actually is. There's no point in having all these wonderful offerings if nobody needs them. I think there was just a vibe that was right for me. There are other alternatives which might have suited, maybe I would say, younger people, not detrimental to older people, but I felt it was a solid course, and I think there was a webinar, and I maybe spoke to you through a webinar at the beginning, through the first call, and it just all joined together. And then once I was in, it was very well handled from the start, to then creating a website, which I did through yourselves as well, and a very nice website I have as well. So it was. I'm glad I did it the way I did it. But I think research, you have to do your research. You can't just jump and decide on the first person you see. There's lots of people now offering training. And even when they're offering the things and you think, that's full of spelling mistakes, why would that be? So I just think you can't just think you can do it. You have to be able to walk the talk as well. Probably I would say excited, because all the networking things I kicked off in the January, I could see that was the route that was going to produce the most exposure for sure. And the referral part of it, if you're consistent on there, and it's the know, like, trust thing with doing networking, and also the helping other people thing. So lots of people offer you free attendances at things that might be paid for further up the line. I don't want to pay for networking. I've chosen not to do that, but I did certainly go on some of the come as a guest moments. And in fact, one of the people I met on one of those in the breakout room, it was a sort of 15-20-minute individual one-to-one breakout. He was an illustrator, and we talked about logos and things, and he said, throw me some ideas and, we'll see what comes out. And he developed my logo, which is one you can see behind me. I don't know if it's showing on your thing, but it was what I wanted. It's a V and an A looking like a mountain. I like skiing. The colours is what I wanted, and it was perfect. And he wouldn't take any money for it, so I made a point of meeting him in person when we could after COVID, and giving him a little gift. But it was just a nice environment. Everybody was nice at the time. Everybody was helping everybody else. And I think that moved it along. I think that allowed people to consider something being done virtually. Yeah, and then you meet other VAs as well. And I think that's the bit I like about it, is the collaboration, not competition part. I think it's really good, because the more people you build up as a group, the more you can help each other. I've a few times asked people if I've not been able to do something, and they've been able to help out and do it directly for the client. I'm not really massively into making money out of other people, by taking fees and things. But I think if you go down that route, you meet like-minded people who do the same sort of thing. Well, I missed out your confidence building part, because I was feeling very confident. So I was wanting to get going quite quickly, and I would say it's quite a long course, thorough and long. And I thought, I don't know how long it's going to take me to go through this confidence thing, and I'll get too impatient, so I'll just not do it, and I'll go back and do it another day if I feel I need it, kind of. And I have never gone back to do it. So I went through it, and a lot of it's self-explanatory. A lot of the things but you don't know about tax and HMRC unless you've done it before, or you've had to do it. So you don't want to fall down the trap. You don't want to go IR35 and just welly in and do it. You don't want to take on people's financial business and then suddenly realise you've got to have registered for AML and pay every year, I don't do that either. I'm not paying extra to do it. So that was really helpful and really useful, and it allowed you to see that you could do it, because the more it went on and you were watching it and reading and videos and reading, and then the paper, your attachments and things were there. That all made sense, and it made sense in the order it was done. So you don't need to have a name straight away. Don't go running around wasting 5 days working out and having a name, because you can call yourself anything at any time unless somebody's registered it somewhere. So worry about that afterwards, because as time rolls on, I didn't know I was going to call myself uppercase VA. I had no idea. I didn't want to be Shirley Henderson because there's an actress, Shirley Henderson. So if anybody Googles it, she comes up online first. So uppercase, obviously uppercase letters, and a capital V and a capital A. So that was where that kind of came from. But you don't need it. You don't, and that's something you say in the course. Don't waste hours of time on it, because and you'll change your mind as well. Once you've decided you're having websites and email addresses and that sort of thing, then yes, you need to be a little bit sure of what you're doing. But yeah, and knowing the mistakes that you made as well, that's always very helpful. So that if you think, well, I might have done that too, so good to know ahead. And I have to say, there's not really been anything that has tripped me up, in this business thus far. So it must be fine. It must be good. I don't think so. No, I think because of the how to get clients part, and I think deciding what kind of client you want. I don't think you know that early enough. You want somebody in their 30s. I want women. I want men. I want whatever it is, or deciding on which kind of industry you want to be in, that sort of thing, and deciding those things. I think it's quite early to decide that in the process. I was happy to see anybody who needed help, anybody who didn't. It's like having a child who gets to exam age and you know everything to a point, and then you don't know it, you can't help them anymore. You don't want to say, I can do this, I can be your VA, I can help you, and then go, well, actually, I can't do that, and I can't do that. So that part of it is knowing what you can offer. And I threw German into it because I can speak German. So I threw German in, and that's where my first client came from, because I spoke German, which is I hadn't expected. I really hadn't expected that. So that was quite a nice one. And the deguddling, she needed deguddling totally, because she had a lot going on and was unable to just be on top of it all. So it wasn't so much, well, a bit of it was businessy, but a lot of it was sort of lifestyle, business within lifestyle. And it was really good, and I really liked helping her, and she said I've changed her life. So that sort of part of it's nice when people feed that back. So yeah, surprised that I got clients so quickly. That was a nice one. And then when you started getting clients, you can talk better when you're in your networking, because you can talk about actual things you're doing for people. And then the proofreading part started to happen, and people were needing things proofread or written, and that's what I started to do then. And then, so little by little, it's kind of evolved, but it's I wouldn't say anything has surprised me. I suppose surprised that it was as straightforward as it was. I didn't think it would be quite as straightforward. I thought I might sit for ages and ages and wait to have clients, to have the income that was going to, start to represent the income you had before, sort of thing. But it's sort of been happening, so I'm pleased. I would say the only hard thing has been convincing myself that yes, I had enough in my operations life to offer it out, and the difficult thing was then how to present that. You're not going to take an advert out in the Times and put everything in it. I can do this and this, because I can do loads of things. I can do people say here's 100 things a VA can do. I can do 100 things, but it might not be the 100 things that everybody's needing. But who is everybody? There's somebody. The people I've got an inventor client that I work with. So I've got inventors, I've got clinics, I've got home lifestyle things. I've had facilities management companies. I've had all sorts of different people, accountants, various different people just needing different things. If you're on a networking and somebody's not on LinkedIn, I've just jumped on and on a Zoom and helped them put LinkedIn on, and just done it for them. I've done networking training for people who didn't know how to network terribly well, and I said, "I'll just jump on a Zoom," and Zoom has been amazing. I don't think any of us could have done what we do without it, and certainly not have the cover across the country that you have. And I've met some clients. I haven't met all of them, but I've met some clients, which has been quite nice as well. I would just say, and you'll probably never see this, which is fine. My husband, when things were quiet, he said, "Are we going to be able to? Are we going to be able to carry this on?" And I said, "Well, you're not in it, so it's me. I'll be carrying it on, and persevering, because things don't happen overnight." And and then they started to happen. So that's kind of been, So you can't plan holidays and things once we were allowed out again, and then all of a sudden you can. So that was quite nice about it. But no, I wouldn't say, I'm quite a strong-willed person, so I don't think I would have been put off. But I can see where people might say, "Why are you doing that? Why are you had a good job, why have you changed it," or whatever, because everybody's circumstances are different. If I'd had children, young children, my daughter's older, if I'd had young children, this would have been an ideal thing to do, because you could be at home for your kids then. My daughter went into nursery as a child, and my career was in property management, was growing, and so it wasn't, it was fine, it worked for the family. But if I had my time again, it would have been nice to have done something like this, to have the best of both worlds, really. If you meet somebody and they say, "Oh, you're that deguddling woman, aren't you?" If you say your name, "I've heard about you." I think that's quite nice, because then it allows you to have the affirmation or from somebody else, and the kudos from somebody else, either a client or just somebody who's met me in passing. So I've been very lucky that I've had repeat business from people, which is nice. The one just the weekend there, and all the things about boundaries. Now, he approached me on a Friday night with something, and I thought, well, in a normal situation, I'd have said, in fact, it was Thursday night. I said, "I'm committed all day Friday, but I could have a look at this over the weekend for you." I'd looked to see what it was, and I knew what I could do, and it was about an hour's worth of work. So it was nice that he'd remembered from 2 years ago and had come back, and he's got something else he wants me to do now as well, which is good. Well, I had a job which I worked overly hard on. I would have been heading for burnout, I think. I could see the signs, and so it came at a good time. COVID happened, and it meant I had time to spend looking after my mum as well. It would have been quite difficult. She's getting elderly now, and I can just drop everything and go and see her. I can, if my daughter needs a lift somewhere, I can go and give her a lift. You can please yourself a bit more. You can, that thing I did at the weekend, it was an hour's work at the weekend. It was quite an interesting topic. I didn't mind doing it. In a 9-to-5 job, you don't have that opportunity always to please yourself, and you sometimes have to work with people you don't like. I've turned down business. There was somebody I met in networking, and I thought, no, I don't think I want to work with you, and politely just declined. So you can pick and choose what you want to do, and you are in charge. I've been managerial quite a number of my years, but always working for a company. So this has been my company. So I make the rules, and I decide, and that's quite nice. Power, power to the VAs. Do your homework for sure. It's not expensive to set up, and one of the other people in doing the offering of the training, I think, said all you need is a laptop. I disagree with that slightly, but I think if you've got some kind of PC or laptop that works, and decent broadband, and a sensible head on your shoulders, but do your homework for sure, you will undoubtedly have skills that are needed somewhere, and it's just finding finding what they are, and take the risk with it, because there isn't a risk. If you're not working, the risk is only purchase of a PC if you haven't got one, because you can do it and try it and chuck it. If it doesn't work, you chuck it. If you absolutely make no money, then HMRC will not be after you. If you make a little bit of money, you'll pay a little bit of tax. If you don't make a lot, if you don't make over the threshold, you'll pay nothing. And all the money's your own, and that's quite nice as well. But just do it. Definitely just do it. If you've got a background in being organised, really, in an industry that you know inside out, then it gives you an in. You can approach people you've worked with before and do that circle of people. So your friends, your neighbours, your hairdresser, your plumber, and somebody will always need somebody to do something. And then if they just remember, oh, I think that's what Shirley does. Shirley does that. I did a complaint letter for my mum and their friends. They were on holiday, and I got them £130 back because I write a good letter. And so it's just knowing where to go in a situation. Oh, I wonder if Shirley could help. I wonder if you could help, whatever it is. If you're a travel agent, you can go out and become a VA travel agent. There's all sorts of industries, all sorts of things, lots of niches and no niches, and just you can do it. Give it a try, nothing to lose.